Hi folks, it's John Nizman from lastchanceautorestore.com, and today just a quick little update. We've done several little snippets on the restoration that we're doing on the 58 Chev Impala. So the last video that we shared with you, we had it sandblasted and we were talking about areas that we'd like to do some welding on. So we've done that now. So just I don't want to bore you with too much, but if we start here, so it's on the rotisserie as if it's on the ground. So this side is the passenger side and this is the front. So basically, I won't point out every single weld, but if we start at the front mount on the passenger side, you can see where we've welded this in the corners where we pointed out in the previous video, they were just little spot welds. So we wanted to give it a little bit more. And then you'll see on the inside, I'm not sure if that's too dark, but there is no welds on the inside. So you can see over here and then inside here, we've run some welding in, and the nice thing is, you know, there's penetration because we have that nice rainbow color on the opposite side of the bracket and the frame. So as we come down towards the passenger side some more, you'll see the next mount, and then once again you can see the nice clean weld here. We closed it in all the way across the top because it had gaps in here which would be prone to some corrosion. This tab, it was previously for an exhaust piece, so we'll be removing that and we'll grind that smooth, and then we'll be grinding these welds a little bit smoother because they're built up a little bit higher than what I'd like them to be. And then the main structure in the center, where I'd mentioned earlier where we had a whole bunch of sections that were open that the factory didn't close, we wanted to close these up. So we've got that done, and then this was one of the worst mounts, was here and the opposite side. If you recall in the previous video, these mounts were actually pulling away from the frame. So what we did is we now have it solid on both ends. This looks a little bit messy, but it's a structural thing. You'll recall where the back section of frame meets the front section of frame, they just had like little spot welds and it was an open edge. So we've welded it all the way around, and then our next step is we'll be grinding all of these welds smooth before we apply the epoxy sealer. And as we come down along the big mount here, there was a big hole in here that we've welded closed, and then we've filled in the areas once again that were open or exposed. And then we have our rear mount. So it's getting kind of boring because it's kind of the same repair each time. Now as we come around to the back, you'll recall the back was wide open. I could stick my pen in on both sides. So we've welded this, and you can see once again the nice penetration. So we know by this rainbow color that the metal was warm enough and of a good temperature that we have it properly welded shut. And then we'll come around the other side, which will be the driver back. Same kind of thing. So it looks kind of sloppy right now, but we'll grind that smooth, and then when it's epoxied, it'll look quite smart. Then we'll come up the rear driver's side, and you can see once again we've welded the mounts, and then there's little perches here that, sorry I went too quick, and we've got spots here that were wide open, and that would allow water to come into the frame and rust the bottom, and that's why we spent the time to close all of these up, because we don't want the moisture running in and pooling down the frame, especially in a mount area, and it to rot out. As we come up further, it comes out nicely here because we've got better lighting. You can see once again where we've closed. So these sections were areas where a pen or a pencil could come through, and we didn't want water pooling this way or the other way into the lower section of the frame. You can see once again on the opposite side, we've welded this shut. We'll grind that, and you can see how nice the welding is here. So we've got that all closed in, and this is where this whole mount was pulling away from the frame, and there was a large gap between this body mount and the frame. So we have that all nicely closed in and welded both inside and outside to give us the strength that we would like. And then kind of boring because you can see down the same on the opposite side, and then we have the mount here. So I just wanted to point out, you know, because this is really important. This is a step oh, I should point out this, so sorry, this last mount in the front, so this is front driver's side, this had a crack and was pulling away, which is just reinforces my theory on don't rely on just a few tacks here and there. So we've closed that in and given it more strength, and then you can see from this side where the pencil's pointed, this is the back of the weld, and you can see once again the penetration because we've welded in there in between the frame and that. So there was some flexing you can see here where the mount has shifted at one time from the factory. Now granted it was from 1958, but still with that fun engine that's going to be in this 58 Impala, it's a 409 big block and a 4-speed manual. As I pointed out in an earlier video, we want to make sure that these little attentions to detail are done properly, because the next step, once we grind this frame, we'll apply 2 or 3 coats of a special 2-part epoxy. That's going to seal the frame and all of these joints to protect it, and then we'll be putting a top coat of high gloss black on. So thank you for watching. This is just a quick little update on the 58 Impala 2-door hardtop, and I'm John from lastchanceautorestore.com.